wake-up day. 10 years. And since you're watching this sometime in the future, you know now that I didn't wake you up.
There are two main themes that the show The 100 focuses on. The first one is about saving mankind. Now, when you base it on that alone, looking at how the whole series ends, you think perhaps a little bit disappointed. Like, I'm not, but because, yes, most of the remaining humans, and there really weren't that many left at the end, transcended, which is fantastic. Much better than, of course, them all being completely wiped out. And then, of course, a group, as in pretty much all the main characters, came back to Earth to be with Clark effectively. But of course, they're not allowed offspring, and once they all die out, then that's it. There's no actual humans living, not in the way that we know is living, left. And that that hit differently. It was very, very emotional watching that last scene. But of course, the other main theme from the show was the fact it's all about saving humanity. Now, that was saved.
I don't know what I believe, but I do know that if we fight this war, we don't deserve to find out if he was right.
When you look at Octavia's speech, what she gave at the very last episode was extremely moving. Again, that was another very, very emotional scene, which I absolutely loved. I wish it's something that we could apply to the real world, but yeah, when you base it on that, humanity was saved, and so everything that they fought for, all the battles against, like what Clark Bellamy did at Mount Weather and all of that, it all was worth it in the end.
Bellamy was right.
So I've been thinking about how the show could end at season 5, and I thought, okay, yes, they all go up on the Elysius ship exactly as we've seen, the missile still launched, etc. But rather than going into the cryo sleep, they actually just grow old on the ship, almost a bit like how we see Monty and Harper, and they have children and grandchildren, and then about, I don't know, 40-50 years later, what we see are almost like a full circle going back to the very, very first episode with the dropship of all the delinquents land on Earth, but this time it's a dropship of everyone on the Elysius, including the grandchildren, all starting a new life on Earth. So obviously in that case, we're looking at Earth being survivable again in about 40 years' time, rather than a couple of hundred years, for how we actually see it. And I just think that would be a really, really nice ending. Now, don't get me wrong, that does not mean that I don't like season 6 and 7. I actually really like the story with the primes, of course, getting to see the AI thing with the whole the mind chips, and how Russell, Josephine, etc., how trying to live forever. It's a really good story. I love that they've entered this new planet. I really love the whole scenes in Clark's mind space. The battle between Clark and Josephine was fantastic. Lots of other storylines there as well with Maddie, and I think there's a really great character arcs, especially Murphy. I mean, how he ended, like, I was sort of thinking he's actually becoming one of my favourite characters. I really liked his development, and we wouldn't have seen that as much if the show had ended at season 5. I, of course, really love the scenes with Octavia, Diyoza, and Hope on the Skyring planet. That whole episode of how they got trapped there, and then of course Octavia and Diyoza were taken, and we see Hope grow up with like a surrogate father. I think how they did that was so good, and again, we wouldn't have seen it if it got cut early, and we wouldn't have seen Jordan as well. And the I love that the relationship that Jordan and Hope kind of got together as well. So yeah, overall, there's so many good things about the last 2 seasons. I'm not sure. I cannot get my head around what I think about the overall ending. I really like it. It's heartwarming. I'm certainly going to watch it again. It is a contender to be a top 10 show for me anyway. But I just kind of would have liked it if mankind actually sort of could last a lot more on the planet, basically. So what were your thoughts on how the series ended? Of course, I forgot to mention Bellamy's death. Now that actually, yeah, I wasn't too happy about that. Not so much that he died or the reason behind him dying, because I totally get him following Shepherd. It sort of makes sense because of how he followed Pike and his guilt. And yeah, I get that, but it was just the fact of how he was killed by Clark that I'm just not overly happy with. But yeah, what did you think of the whole series? Let me know in the comments there. And thank you very much for watching.